right, so Sung Jinwoo was able to get his evaluation the right way, and now is known as the 10th S rank hero. But honestly, in this episode, although it was good, this was probably the most heavily edited episode that we probably have ever had in the show. You know, before they've always edited some small stuff here and there. I mean, I've talked about how they've edited whenever they go into a dungeon. In the manhwa, there's, you know, maybe like, I don't know, 6 or 7 people, but in the anime, they only show like 4 people, 5 people, so they edit down like a couple of people, which is not that big of a deal. If they're in the background, don't do anything, it's not really that important, right? So there was some big fundamental things that were actually edited in this episode that we'll discuss, and also a big spoiler. Okay, I'll be honest, not necessarily a big spoiler, more like a mid-level spoiler. It's not really that big of a deal, but we'll go into that. But anyway, let's get into it so then that way at least you guys will be more informed, because there was a lot of even jokes that was actually quite hilarious that were edited out. All right, so this episode covered chapters 76 to 81. If you do want to read those yourselves, be my guest. But the biggest thing, which I'm going to disclaimer this right now, because I don't even know how this episode went through what it went through without even discussing it. But there's a very small kind of mid-level spoiler that I'm going to share with you guys. So if you want to, you know, leave and come back later, that's perfectly fine. But it's not really, honestly, that big a deal right now. If you remember in the episode, there was a moment where Jinwoo was at like a coffee shop with his friend Jinho, and they were discussing what he wanted to do. Of course, Jinho was trying to be like, hey man, come to my guild, it's gonna be great. My parents won't let me have the guild unless you know, ride or die with me. You get into the guild, we're cool, we got this. And of course, Jinwoo was like, nah, I ain't doing that. I'm not gonna do that. Well, the reason why it cut out, like it just went talking there and then finally cut out and left the last part hanging, was because, spoilers, Jinwoo has decided to make his own guild. Instead of joining the other big guilds, he's like, you know what, with my power, I'm gonna make my own guild. Then he offered him, his friend Jinho, hey, do you wanna join me? I'll make you my vice president, if you will, of the guild. So because of that, all the other events in this episode kind of coalesced around that. The discussion Jinho had with his father. In the anime, they made it look like Jinho was like, yeah, dad, I'm not going to do the whole guild thing. I'm just going to follow my friend and just be bros with him. And didn't even explain like why he wanted to do that in the first place. We know because Jinwoo wants to have his own guild, and of course is pulling his best friend to it. In the manhwa, so it went down like this. Jinho discusses with his father. Sorry, dad, I won't be able to get Jinwoo into our guild, and he wants to make his own guild, and he has offered me the vice president of that guild. And so his father is like, you know what, son? You passed my test. Here you go. You are now, I'm gonna put you over the guild. You don't have to bring your friend Jinwoo on it. You've shown that you are a good man, and I'm gonna leave you in charge. And then Jinho's like, nah, dad, I'm not gonna take that offer. I'm gonna go with my best friend. So as you can see, that is why he left, because he had that job offer of their own promise of their own guild. Because Jinho did that, he got kicked out of the house by his father. It wasn't that he decided just to leave and it's like, oh, I decided just to leave from my father's place. No, 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 he got kicked out. And he went to Jinwoo, and Jinwoo's like, hey, what you doing here? And he's like, yeah, so can I live with you now? One of the funniest moments happened in this exchange because Jinwoo was like, yeah, I don't know you. Slams the door in his face, and his own sister's like, isn't that your friend? And Jinwoo's like, yeah, I don't know that guy. I've never met that guy in my life. And literally doesn't invite him in. The next time he sees him, Jinwoo was like, hey, how'd you sleep? And his friend's like, yeah, the motel was pretty nice. It's like just left him in the cold, did not bring him in. Now, of course, the anime showed that whole exchange was totally different. As he's trying to tell his sister where he's gonna be going for a week, he's like, yeah, I'm going to be with this guy here. Now, granted, they did make a almost new funny scene where Jinwoo was like crushing the guy's clavicle as he's like, right? We're going somewhere, right? And he's like, yeah, we're going. So yes, they created a new exchange there. Yes, and then how his friends slept the night in his room on the floor, mind you. If you actually just sit there and think about the exchange from the anime, it's like, that doesn't make sense. My best friend is a very powerful S-rank hunter, and I'm not going to do what I wanted to do as far as lead the guild so I can follow him. What does following him even entail? Just like, oh, I'm just going to just do whatever he wants me to do? It's like, that doesn't make sense. And that's why I said cutting out the whole, because Jinwoo wants to make his own guild, it honestly just doesn't, it falls flat as far as the actual reasons when you think about it. His subordinate's name is Tusk, not Fang. And I believe in the last episode, it even showed, if you look at the actual screen where he's naming him, it literally says Tusk, but Jinwoo says his name is Fang. And I'm like, well, that's a little weird. I guess it'll grow on me, but it's a little weird that it's like they fundamentally changed his name. They also, in the auction house, in the manhwa, he did get the actual orb evaluated. Like the guy looked at it and was like, oh my lord, this orb is given 100%. That's crazy, because nothing gives 100%, at most maybe 50%. And then it's all like, where'd you get it? And all this. And that's when Jinwoo asked about armor and such. They didn't even show the cloak nor the ring until he went into the actual dungeon. In the, of course, anime, it showed the glass and all this. It's like, ooh, wouldn't this be what you want? And of course, I'm glad they left the same joke in as far as him like breaking it and how powerful he is, because that's actually a very pivotal point that we know how strong Jinwoo is, that he breaks this very strong magical glass without even punching it. Like his aura alone breaks it. He doesn't get it for free, mind you. You know, like I said, the guy said it was a joke. The manhwa nor the anime answers what he got the money from in order to buy the equipment. We can only assume that he used items from the shop. I do like how the anime made it where he has like a backpack, and then he's pulling stuff out the backpack, but he's actually like just summoning it from his inventory, and you see the little glow. That is a nice touch, because that definitely wasn't addressed in the actual manhwa. It just kind of showed him like handing the items over. So you can kind of imply what he did there thanks to the anime. Now let's talk about the incident in the beginning of the episode where it was the, I don't know, movie star, actor, or whatever, that is gotten an A rank. Well, that whole exchange was a little bit different as well, because Jinwoo, of course, walks up and is like, what's going on here? And in the anime, the guy makes a grand speech in the beginning, but in the manhwa, he doesn't make a speech until he gets embarrassed first. Like he walks up, is trying to get into the building, and as he's trying to get into the building, Jinwoo's trying to get into the building, that's when he gets stopped by the guard. And then the guy's like, what are you doing here? After Chairman Go comes around, and Chairman Go brings him in, he gets embarrassed, and of course that's when he's making this grand speech of like, oh, I'm going to protect society with my new power. So then that way the reporters forget about the whole embarrassment, and it's like, oh man, this guy's gonna be great, he's gonna protect everybody. And then that's when he turns around to go in for a second time, and that's when the Secret Service people come up, and it's like, yeah, you're not going anywhere. So the exchange happened a little differently as far as compared to the anime, although kind of funny because this guy is left in the cold. While Jinwoo's in there, aura just absolutely destroying the minds of the guild leaders. Outside, the reporters are getting like intel on their phones that are like, wait, there's an S-rank hunter now. Look, it's been updated in the website. And so the reporters are going on a frenzy, forget about the old movie star guy, and that's when they crowd around the building, and then Jinwoo comes walking out. So without that happening, it was like, wait, how do the reporters know that Jinwoo's S-rank hunter? It's just kind of implied in the anime. And the leader of the Fiend Guild, the guild's name is supposed to be the Reapers, but I guess they figure that that name might be too edgy, because now it's the Fiend Guild. And it's like, okay, all right, sure, whatever. Still has the same symbol. it's supposed to be like the Grim Reaper holding a scythe, and the button on the guy's chest still shows that symbol, but they're called the Fiend Guild. All right, sure, whatever. What floats your boat? Now, when Jinwoo actually went into the dungeon, he was testing, of course, the same thing that happened in the anime, test out Tusk's / Fang's abilities, and gave him the orb. Now, instead of there being one giant that's just kind of walking around like in the anime, there was a whole slew of demons. It was the giant, there was in the background something flying, there was little demons, there was demons everywhere. And then Tusk just blows them all away in then one shot. So he destroyed multiple demons in that one shot instead of just one, which, you know, they're doing the animation, so I guess they're trying to save animation budget by showing just one demon instead of multiple. Cool, whatever. The breakdown of the teams was done a little different. You know, I do like the fact that they showed little panels in the anime, so I was like, okay, but in the manhwa was actually like little cute panels that showed their faces, which I thought was hilarious. And finally, the Demon Knights at the very end, they came in on horses in the manhwa instead of, I don't know, walking around as far as in the anime is concerned, which I guess in the long run of it doesn't matter that much. They just showed so much aura. Whenever they were like on horses, like, yeah, we going around here, we bad, we killing all these shadow creatures or whatever, you know, on their horse instead of just, you know, walking around. So it was just like that picture when we first see them in the actual manhwa show them as huge and intimidating. So it's like, okay, all right, who are these guys on floor 80? All right, let's see what's going on now. So that's pretty much it as far as the differences, which even, I'll be honest, it's even more than that, but those are probably some of the major ones that you'll probably hear about or see through other channels. Overall, great episode still, and I don't mind them changing a few things. The fact of the whole Tusk Fang thing is a little like, really? Why'd you have to do that? Please excuse me in the future if I interchange the names. You understand whom I'm talking about. Overall, great episode. It was amazing. Still a lot of good stuff. Solo leveling is still a lot of fun. Next week's episode is going to be mighty nice. It's going to be pretty nice. Other than that small spoiler that I talked about earlier, and I apologize if you missed that one section as we talked there. It's fine. Don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe. And of course, don't forget to discuss the things that we were talking about here in the episode. Tell me what you guys think about this episode. For those that have read the manhwa, was it hard for you to process this episode? Or was it just, you're like, it's no big deal and kind of swept under the rug? I think for me, it was like, okay, I see where they're going here as far as some changes. But it's not a big deal. We'll see what goes down in the future, because all I know is in the future, things are going to be even better in the long run. But like I said, tell me what you guys think. Don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe. And as always, make sure you hit that bell icon for future developments, future videos, future shorts that are going to be coming out. I would love to see you guys, especially in the comments. In the meantime, be safe. Take care. I'm Motor Willing. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye for now.
Ain't what you want, bitch, I'm a fucking phenomenon.